So I wanted to do a quick flip through of this junk journal I made for my traveler's notebook. I'm getting ready to take a trip and I wanted to show you kind of what I put together so that I can have a variety of background pages, have some inspiration. If I don't like a background page, I can always go in and I can paint over it or add to it. So this is one that I just made up, and I put a bunch of book paper together, used scrapbook paper, and I just put it together with some vintage baker's twine as the binding, and I added like old maps, and I put in some fabric. I stapled them in so that I could take it out if I wanted to make a tab or stitch it in later. I added some, this is gift wrap paper. I left some paper white so that I could either put photos down or I could do some sketching. This is just some scrap paper. I stitched in some tabs. This could be a little tuck spot onto an old book page. Then I added in for a pocket. I added in a policy envelope. I put in an old postcard that is blank. So I figure I could either send it to myself or act like I send it to myself. I added in 1964 postal paper of a postal address book. This came out of one of those bit boxes that have like gardening tips in it. So that's vintage. I just stitched two together and I made it into a pocket. Then I have some vintage book paper. This came out of an old art book, like a coffee table book. Some vintage book paper. And some more book paper. And this came out of, I think it was a calendar. This is some vintage wallpaper. And I go to estate sales all the time, and I've been doing that for years. And so I just have now in the last couple of years really started to decide I'm going to use my stash. So I'm not buying anything new. I haven't bought anything new in probably about a year, other than a couple of planner things. I've just been mainly using things out of my stash. So this is a bag, little like treat bag. And then this was a little vintage card that I just copied. And let me know if you want me to do some downloads. I'm starting an Etsy shop and I want to do some digital downloads. So I'm kind of thinking about doing that with some of my finds that I have. Some wallpaper. This was I copied from a vintage card that I had. Another copy of the same vintage card. This is a copy of a tally card. And I made tabs from some vintage 1950s, 1940s yearbooks that I have. And I saw this from Feed the Birdies, and I just thought it was such a cute idea. So I did that. This was from and I made a lot of like traveling. I have a lot of traveling items in here. So I don't know that I'll use them, but it's nice when you're traveling and you don't have your studio with you that you pack some things for inspiration to add in to the items that you collect on your trip. Here's some more vintage wallpaper. This was a postcard that I copied. This is some more of that wrapping paper. I got this from a estate sale from 1975. I got a whole box of them, of like receipts and old canceled checks and things. This is some washi paper that I put on one of those cardboard little spools that you would wrap floss around. And I just tied that to the string on the inside so I would have it there in case I needed some washi tape. Money from a game, vintage game, envelope, the backside of the wallpaper, backside of the gift bag. So the gift bag on this side, what I did was I sliced it open. And I punched a notch so that I could access the gift bag from both sides. Once I folded and stitched it in. It's from a card. Oh no, that's a book cover. Here's some more vintage wallpaper. This is from a children's book. Some vintage wallpaper. This is from a calendar. This is the other side of the paper, and it had a little recipe here for a Victorian inspired for a pound cake. This is a playing card that I put in there for a little tuck spot. And then I did, this is from vintage bridge set, tally set. I put in some score sheets that have been written on. I thought they'd be fun to journal on. Some old index cards. I love the patina from these. They're just so pretty. I don't ink anything or coffee dye or tea dye. I use actual vintage items, so they're already kind of off color a little bit. These were some labels that I had gotten at IKEA, so I put those in there because I thought these were really cute. So like I said, some things are vintage, some things are not. I just thought I'd just put in a big, these are scraps left over from when I cut the pages down, and I had some scraps left over. So I just tucked them in there. Vintage pattern. I love to Mod Podge vintage pattern down. Makes such a pretty background. So I always have that, some of that in there. This is a Project Life card. It says, at this moment, watching, reading, making, starting, finishing, enjoying, texting, loving, hating. Wrapping paper. This is the other side of the policy envelope, or business envelope. Again, this was out of a book. And then the other side of the map. And then I always put some trim in there in case I want to add it to a tag, or you know, sew it on the edge of a page or something like that to make a tab. So that's my page, and I want to come back and I want to do a video. I mean, this is my traveler's notebook insert, and I want to come back and I want to do a video of a page. And I have a couple of, I'm going to be working in, excuse me, I'm going to be working in a hymnal that I want to gut. And I want to do some journaling in. So I have some photos that I want to journal about some of my experiences. And I pulled some vintage things. So I will be back with that on the next video. Thanks for joining me. And I hope you subscribe to my channel and click like. And yeah, I'm kind of stepping out and doing this channel. So I would thank you for your support. And I hope to see you next time. Bye.